What if I told you that the people providing the test for this current global pandemic are also the same people that created it? And when I say created, I mean they altered it. Obviously, Corona has always been around. And they altered it. And I have absolute proof of that. And I know some people have already seen me do some of this, but many people got caught up because it was such a long video. So I'm going to try to put it all together so this can be shared and people can actually see what's going on. So it's getting worse. Not even that. They are also the same people that are working on the vaccine. They're the same people that have been involved in so many shady dealings throughout our history. Brian from High Impact Flicks did an amazing video about the money and how much each hospital's getting just to check, yep, they have COVID, and put patients on ventilators. Check. Exactly. And so I will put that link below, or I'll do a separate video about it because it is very important. It ties with this, but I don't want people to get too much information all at once. I know we have short attention spans and busy. Anyway, let's get into this. This is important. I know I say that with everything because I don't talk about unimportant stuff. But this book right here called The Last Circle. This book right here by Danny Casolaro. Well, technically Danny couldn't put it out. Why? Because he was murdered. Yeah, murdered. Because of all of this information. And you can look into him wherever and it says Danny Casolaro murdered. But y'all, all of the information that you need is in this book. So we're going to just jump to chapter 11 because that's where it gets into the meat and potatoes about all of this. But I highly recommend you read the entire book because it's going to tie up things from 9/11 to, the Promise software, the Inslaw affair, so many things. So let's go ahead and get with this. The other day, we had Biodesics come out with amazing news. They will now be providing they'll be able to produce 500,000 tests a week for testing people with their ddPCR test. That's awesome. And look at their stocks. Whew. So, wait, who is Biodesics? Well, oddly enough, on March 20th, Bio-Rad bought Biodesics. Well, that's interesting. So who's Bio-Rad? That's what I'm going to explain to you. Alright. Michael Ricconsciuto had some, if not all, the answers to gene splicing technology that Zawalsky and Wackenhut had attempted to sell to the Army Weapons Division in 1983. Yes, 83. This book isn't new. This information has been out. I mean, it's not widely publicized. I don't even know if you can get it on Amazon, but for obvious reasons. But division in 1983, and later fronted to the Japanese through the Mettering International Logistics in 1988. I felt that time was of the essence in uncovering the nature of this technology, so I pushed Ricconsciuto to talk about it. The person talking is Danny Casolaro, okay? It looks like Earl Bryan, Sir Dennis Kendall, Hercules Research, Wackenhut, Zawalsky, and Bob Nichols. If I say someone's name or something multiple times, look into them. Yeah. We're all involved in the same biotesting agenda. Michael answered, "You got it." I asked, "Are they connected, or are they all individually working on their own project?" Michael said, "Yes." And Danny says, "How?" "Check out Bio-Rad Laboratories. The international headquarters are on half of the property that used to be the Hercules plant in Hercules, California. Do you understand what I'm saying? Bio-Rad makes the most toxic, biological, and radioactive compounds known to man. And they are now located in the town of Hercules, California. Bio-Rad Industrial Park, that building of theirs, the headquarters, doesn't look like much of anything from the outside, but it goes 20 stories down into the ground. It has a huge underground complex. See, Bio-Rad was the flagship company, and then they, meaning Earl Bryan, started Infotech, and then they got tons of lawsuits, and then Hadron, I'm sure many of you have heard of Hadron, was formed to be a cutout parent corporation. You know, kind of like the head kind of front company, okay? I asked, what do they do at Bio-Rad? Well, they make the most hazardous biological and nuclear chemicals in the world for medical research. Who do they sell it to? Well, frontline researchers all over the world. Bio-Rad is the single source for this stuff, meaning they're the only ones. Actually, All Direct Chemicals sells it. See, all of these companies have front companies. That way, it's hard to tie all of them together. Michael Ricconsciuto got out of prison in 2017, oddly enough, a few months before the Las Vegas situation. And his money is all froze because of these things. See, they didn't kill Michael off because he knows too much, but then I'm not sure why they didn't. But they put him in timeout for a little while in prison for the Promise software and Inslaw, but they still needed him because he has all the a lot of the information, okay? But he was getting a little itchy hanging up in Yelm, Washington at the Ramtha. Y'all know the Ramtha cult place? Hanging out at their underground place and wanted to go gamble. So he went to Las Vegas. And he was still on house arrest at that time. Well, the CIA and all these other people that have big interest in him didn't take kindly to that. So they excavated him. I don't even know how to explain this. They went and got him. How did they get him? Route 91. That's right. Had nothing to do with the Saudi prince. That person you saw, Michael Ricconsciuto. All of it. I'm not saying anybody didn't die or didn't have situations, but it was a show to go in, and extract him. I don't know why I lost that train of thought. Okay, back on this. Where was that? But Bio-Rad is head and shoulder above all of them by a factor of maybe 10 on many things like cytotoxins. I remembered reading about cytotoxins in Wackenhut's Cabanzo biological warfare letters to Dr. Harry Fair. Michael continued, you looked at cytotoxin T lymphocytes? T lymphocytes are T cells. You go ask any medical professional what they're doing on the leading edge of research there. What are the full implications to humanity are? Okay. I wanted clarifications from Michael. Let me explain this. Some of it might seem like, okay, they're just having a conversation. Why wasn't this written better? Because he was killed. So the only way to print this out was just to take his research notes and put it out. Okay? Sorry. No, I don't have no corona. I wanted clarification from Michael, so I answered, it looks to me like research for a cure for cancer. Michael took the bait. Go ask a professional. I'd rather have you hear it from them. Well, give me some indication, Michael responded hesitantly. It would have been Hitler's wet dream. It's selective to such a degree that it's awesome. With the appropriate genetic material, you can wipe out whole segments of humanity. There's no stopping it. Meaning, they're able to isolate particular ethnicities and take a simple coronavirus, which is something that's just normally a common cold or whatever, and splice it and make it be able to target any particular ethnicity. See, this is why we're not seeing the massive deaths like they did in China. I mean, we were seeing some crazy stuff come out of China. People just falling out on the ground, all of these things. That was real. That's why we didn't see that in Beijing and all of these other places. That's how specific it is. It targets the Han Chinese. Well, that specific did. Okay? But yet some other people can, if they're immune compromised, they can get this. It's not saying that you cannot get this, but it's specifically written for them. You see what I'm saying? And not just for them. They probably have one for each ethnicity. I just don't have information on all of that. Okay. I asked, so you can selectively wipe out certain races of people? He said, sure. Jeez. Mike continued, and also from the beneficial side, you can very specifically wipe out disease cells, like cancer. Yeah. And they can. That's sad. But we know Big Pharma doesn't like to cure people. They want to prolong your death. Well, prolong your life, but keep you in a baseline of still needing their meds. So they have these, absolutely. Look at the patents. Look at Immunex Corporation. Look at the patent portfolios on Bio-Rad. Who's Bio-Rad's main buyer? Well, the National Institute of Health, the NIH. You know, every hospital in the world buys Bio-Rad products. Whew. Let's skip down here. Who's Who described Dennis William Kendall as a medical electronic equipment company executive, born in Halifax, Yorkshire, England, in 1903. I'm not going to go into all that. But it goes into DynCorp, how they end up merging with DynCorp, and all these other things. And how they're involved in everything. Really, like almost every scandal, these people are connected. Okay. There's a pharmaceutical company in LA. There's a medical electronics company. Ted Shannon in Los Angeles supervises at the production for all of this stuff. It's very exotic, far out stuff, and he's still in a controlling position at Brunswick Ordnance Corporation. I asked Rick and Shudo, how close does Bio-Rad to your was Bio-Rad's to your father's plant? Because this is how Michael knew about all this. Michael answers, it's on the same property. all of this was happening on Michael's father's property. They were all connected. Okay. You can get all into all of this, and then they talk about Promise Software, Inslaw, and you can click on Inslaw Octopus, all of this. Now let's get here. This is important. According to Bill Hamilton, president of Inslaw, Hadron had attempted to buy Inslaw in 1983. Well, that would seem innocuous, right? Inslaw, starved of cash, was forced into Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 1985. Hamilton sued the DOJ for theft of property in 1986. But who is William Hamilton? This is William Hamilton. You may know him as Alex Azar. William Hamilton, aka Alex Azar. Yeah, that Alex Azar. Is it making sense now? So, Bio-Rad has their hands in all of these things, and they're even so arrogant to put all this out that they believe that you're so dumb that you wouldn't even read this book, or that you're not important enough to even put out this information. And then we have Dicarta, SARS-CoV testing. These are connected as well. So they expanded to 500,000 COVID-19 tests. I'm guessing that they're calling themselves Dicarta also. It's so crazy. So Biodesics. Oh goodness, so many links open, y'all. But I'm going to give y'all the link and you can go through all of this stuff. Oh, this is important too. Founded in 1983, the Infurgene specialized in DNA technology, making diagnostic test kits for AIDS. And we all know the controversy about HIV really probably not turning into AIDS. It's the medication that's creating that. Hepatitis and other diseases. My research led me onto an article in the Bay Area Biolabs. In June 1991, in San Francisco Examiner published a story entitled Germ War Lab Alarms Berkeley, which noted the community of West Berkeley was home to the Defense Department's one and only supplier of the anti-plague vaccine. On December 28, 1990, 4 maintenance men made an unauthorized entrance into a room at Cutter Biological, which housed the Yersin pestis, commonly known as Black Plague, which once killed a quarter of the population of Europe 650 years ago. There was no harm to these workers and no release of the live bacteria, but if an accident had occurred, all of Berkeley would have been wiped out. That's how dangerous this stuff is, and it's sitting at Berkeley and around that area, in these populated areas. It's impossible not to compare these two inferences. Yeah, because I'm not going to confuse y'all with all this other stuff, but it connects to the Gulf War syndrome, the Gulf gas mystery. Let me see. Robert Booth Nichols. Okay? I mean, just go through this and look into all of these people. The man who knew too much. That was what, Nichols? And so, all of this information has amazing stuff in it, right? Well, let me tell you something, Q people. Michael Ricconsciuto was a little upset that, they took him out of Vegas, so he started a little typing, little undercover stuff, and it picked up. You might know that as QAnon. Now, he is no longer QAnon, and he hasn't been from practically the first. He just put out all those few first drops that were really great information, which actually says one of the drops has T cells in the post. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Actually, I'd rather not. I'll do that separately. Okay, let me see. Here's Michael Ricconsciuto right here. And look, self-proclaimed CIA and very probable deep state operative. Yeah, he is. Involved in Iran-Contra. Quite possibly. This is him. And he likes to... Michael, if you're watching, what's up, buddy? I don't know him personally. But, when you read all these things and the octopus and all this stuff, you'll know immediately that this was absolutely his doing. Q in the beginning. Q now is just all these fools. Oh, right here, I think. Look, this was one of Q's first posts. Let me see. So, Operation Merlin, Iran, NK Iran deal funding, Iran, NK T cells. This wasn't about terror cells, because that's what all the Q people thought. Oh, terror cells. Oh, it's terror cells. They're everywhere. But it's about the T cells. The T lymphocytes that I talked about down here. That's what that was about. Now, Q is not this guy. And in information that this guy has, it's already in this book. The Q people are just, it's garbage. Q has been taken over by the CIA, the NSA, nobody, white hat, none of those people. The reason that first drops were great information was because it comes from this guy. And all that information is in here, and it's easily found right here. And so they're not telling you anything that's not already on the internet. Some of them, I think, are connected to him because of their connections with Ramtha, meaning David Wilcock and his little lackey, Jordan Sather. And that's all I'm going to say about all of that, because Q is just, I'm so tired of it. But I just want you to know that's why some of the information seemed like totally, oh wow, yeah, look at all this information. But y'all, the test kits are being made by the people that created this. Bio-Rad. These people should not be open, but they're the CIA, and they're untouchable, essentially. Because nobody is willing to put this information out. Danny did, and didn't last too long. And now we have Cytodyne treats 2 coronavirus patients, and these people are connected to, they're owned by Bio-Rad. And look at that, look at these jumps on their stock. Isn't that strange how everything is collapsing right now except for all of their things? And yes, Bill Gates is connected to all these people. Where's Bill Gates from? Seattle? Somewhere? Portland? It's about only 45 minutes from the Ramtha. Ramtha is that cult, but they have that place, and anyway, that's where he was hiding out. And so now you can put all of that information together with the amount of money being pushed into this, and there's no denying what's going on here. I mean, it's disgusting. But let me show you some more shocking things. So I took the last 2 or 3 days, hours and hours, getting all this information from the CDC's website. All of the previous years, pneumonia, flu, and total deaths. Boys! Pneumonia, flu, and total deaths throughout the country, and I did state by state as well, okay? Let me see. It's called Flu View. Flu View Interactive. So I took all of this information, and see, they just show it to you like this. They don't show it to you compared year by year. So, you know, what they're showing us with these increased coronas and all these things is very deceiving. So I took all of the information from the previous 4 flu seasons and compiled them and made these bar charts so you can see the number of deaths compared to the last 4 years. So let's check this out. This blue right here, oh my gosh, boys, the blue is 2019-2020. That's us right now, okay? But as you can see, all of these are essentially the same. In 2017-2018, we had a huge spike. But as you can also see, the blue line, way lower than all the other years. Now, how is that? I thought we were having an influx of patients. This is just pneumonia. I'm going to go to even the total deaths. Okay? So the total deaths of people that have been dying are way lower. Maybe they're not happy about that. I don't know. I'm not going to make any conjectures. Why does it say Louisiana? This isn't Louisiana. Oh no, this is Louisiana. This is Louisiana deaths. But as you can see, Louisiana deaths are way down. Because it's the blue line. I mean, this is just insane. Now, let's look at the pneumonia deaths. And I was actually going to do every state, but then I realized while I was doing them, they were all coming out to be about the same. We're seeing a stark decrease in deaths this year than we have in the last 3 previous years. At least 3 previous. I mean, I wasn't going to go crazy and do like 20 years. But essentially all the charts ends up looking like this. Oh, gracious. Sorry, my computer is kind of flipping out right here. Okay. You see this light blue? This is 2019-2020 flu season. See, they don't start week 1, week whatever. They don't start that like we would normally do that. They start it back in the fall, okay? So the new year starts then. And you can see the light blue is 2020. This one's 2019. This one's 2018. So why all this panic? So these are all pneumonia-related deaths. So this would include COVID and all of these things. Anybody, I even compared hospitalizations, y'all. The information is on the CDC site. I don't know how more doctors aren't coming out about this. I mean, what, did Corona, like, eradicate pneumonia and flu? Because I think they are labeling COVID-19 as a different one now, but what I did was for this year, I added what they're considering flu, pneumonia, and COVID deaths. I added those together for this year. And then the previous years, I just went with, of course, we just had flu and pneumonia. And this is what we're seeing. We're still seeing this. We're seeing furloughing of nurses all across the country, nurses and doctors, all over the country. So this nonsense that people are shoving down your throats about, we need ventilators, we need this, we need that. No, they don't. That temporary army hospital tent that they set up in Washington, they already pulled it down because they never saw one patient. And the hospital ship, the USNS Mercy, that they put off of the coast of, let me see, actually I think I have a screenshot of it, of New York. At first, what the ship was originally for was to see normal patients, and that way the hospitals could focus on COVID-19. But because they weren't seeing a very high rate, unlike what they're telling us, they went ahead and made the ship the COVID-19 ship. Okay? So all patients with COVID-19 that needed hospitalization were going to the USNS Mercy. How many, and to the Java Center or whatever? You know how many patients were on there? 64. Yeah. It holds 500. They can't, they don't even have, let me see. I know I took a screenshot of it last night. I mean, y'all, the numbers are astonishing. Fear mongering with, I mean, all of this. See, this is what they are putting out to the public. I mean, I don't even know what this is. It's as if they just chopped up some things just to where this red line is 2020 to make it look way higher than all the other years. But it's complete garbage. Look, influenza among cases 0 to 4 years old. What? Why would... Oh my gosh. That's completely false. Okay, so... Oh my god. But that's what they're putting out, and that's what's getting shared on Twitter because people aren't even looking at what the chart is saying and comparing it to the downloadable information. Look, this is the information. Anybody can go download it themselves. I can share this stuff with y'all. Look, it has the number of influenza deaths, number of pneumonia deaths, number of total deaths in the country by week. So every single week. And I also have the ones for by state per week. I mean, all this stuff is downloadable, but they know people are lazy and aren't going to do this. I mean, anybody, if you know Excel really well, let me know. And I mean, I just don't. I'm sure these charts could be made a lot faster than what I'm doing because I don't know how to use Excel very well. But y'all, the numbers are nonsense, and it's all for the money. Look, you can even see this. This is the number of cumulative rates. This is not from the CDC. This is from a private. I think it was from a college or something. They were just those people that like to run numbers or whatever. And just without even knowing anything, you can see what's going on here, right? Right? I mean, look at this. This is where the numbers were. I mean, everything's flat. You want to talk about flatten a curve? If you compare it to curve from the last few years, this is a flat curve. I mean, it's shocking that they're able to pull this off and people believing it. These are all pneumonia-related deaths in the U.S., y'all. This blue line is 2019, 2020. The orange is 2018, 2019. Then the gray one that had that big spike, 2017, 2018. And then the yellow one. So we're way low. We're way low. For people needing these ventilators, the emergency ventilators. Yeah, they need those ventilators, all right, because they're getting big dollars. And that's why I uploaded that video with that doctor speaking about how he thought this was, I don't think he's putting all this together, or maybe he is and he just can't say it. They're putting patients on vents that don't need vents. And it is damaging their lungs and they're dying from it. And they're doing that for money. If you didn't see that video, just go to my channel and you'll see it. He's the thumbnail is of a young doctor, youngish doctor, probably my age, I don't know. So I'm gonna stop it here, and then I'll break down all the numbers. But Brian at High Impact Flicks did a great job, so y'all can just go check his out. I probably didn't make this video short. 36 minutes. Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe I'll cut it in half. So if this is cut in half, thanks for coming to part 2. Y'all have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe.